Bill DeMott had an unremarkable career as a mid-card wrestler in WCW, but behind the scenes in WWE was where he held real power, and that's when the accusations started flowing. In this video, we're looking at how Bill DeMott became one of the most hated men in wrestling. He debuted in WCW as the laughing man Hugh Morrus, a guy who cackled hysterically after hitting a moonsault, and as if that wasn't bad enough, he was placed in the Dungeon of Doom, one of the most embarrassing stables in wrestling history, and even there he wasn't taken seriously. Despite his size, he was mostly ignored, and that was a trend that would carry through the rest of his run in the company. In fact, the most memorable thing he ever did in WCW was lose. He was the guy Goldberg squashed in his debut match. And things didn't get any better under Vince Russo, who turned Hugh Morrus into a literal dick joke. As General Hugh G. Rection, he joined the ranks of the Misfits in Action, a bunch of army-themed losers that were WCW's answer to the Job Squad. When the WWF bought the carcass of WCW, Bill's contract came with it. He wasn't brought in for his talent, he was just part of the scraps that came with the deal, and while he might have been a joke in WCW, he was a jobber in the WWF. He wrestled a few forgettable matches and then was released in 2001. Inexplicably, he was rehired in 2002 as a trainer, and he appeared on Tough Enough. He was the angry drill sergeant who pushed the rookies to their limits. It was the first time Bill had any authority over younger wrestlers, and he leaned into it. Daniel Puder won the 2004 season of Tough Enough. He had a legit MMA background and had trained and fought for real before joining WWE. He took training seriously, and thanks to that background as a real fighter, he expected professional coaching. Puder said that he didn't mind being pushed, but Bill crossed the line into bullying. At one point, Bill reportedly held a grudge because Puder wouldn't go out drinking with him and tried to start a fight over it. On another occasion, Bill was reportedly unhappy with how Puder took a move. Instead of correcting him, Bill grabbed Puder's finger and bent it back. Puder stood his ground and told him to either break it or start acting like a trainer. After that, Bill backed off and left him alone. Puder later called Bill's behaviour unprofessional and unacceptable, and said that anyone acting like that in his gym would be fired on the spot. In 2005, WWE made Deep South Wrestling its new developmental territory and promoted Bill to head trainer. Over time, multiple wrestlers accused him of creating a hostile and abusive atmosphere. Kevin Matthews trained under DeMott in Deep South, and years later he wrote a damning blog post describing the experience. He alleged that Bill was psychologically abusive. Instead of making talent, he got his rocks off on mentally breaking talent and making them feel like a piece of shit. I went into Deep South with confidence and left a shell of the person I came in as. When DeMott doesn't like you for whatever reason, never having to do with how talented or not you are, he goes after you and either A, tries to mentally break you to the point you quit, or B, buries you to the office until you get fired. If he couldn't control you, then you were his enemy, and he then goes after you like a shark smelling blood. He went on to allege that Bill used unsafe training methods and had no idea how to actually coach pro wrestling. We would spend so much time getting annihilated by his useless workouts that when it came to ring time, all he could do was drill you till your knees started buckling underneath you. I can honestly say that I spent more time injured than I did training. All the injuries that occurred in DSW all occurred during Bill's kill drill class. According to Matthews, DeMott played favourites, bullied trainees that he didn't like, and seemed more interested in breaking people down than building them up. He made that place a living hell for anyone who wasn't part of his clique. Unless you bowed to him and kissed his ass, chances are you were gonna be buried. Matthews also questioned DeMott's qualifications to be a head trainer at all, claiming he had no business leading a developmental system. He called DeMott emotionally unstable and that he needed professional help. Kenny Omega was a trainee in Deep South in the mid-2000s. According to him, DeMott abused his power by running dangerous, pointless drills that pushed wrestlers past their limits, risked serious injury, and taught them nothing.
I think that he certainly took advantage of his position of power. If I were to run a seminar, for example, or if I were to train anybody, I would not tell them, I wouldn't try to train them something that I didn't understand. I would try to train them something that I could definitely train them correctly and safely, and only things that could benefit their career in a positive manner. I mean, he wasn't the greatest pro wrestling teacher, which is why, Dave Taylor was like a godsend for all of us there. Where it started to get questionable was like when we would do drills like, okay, everybody line up, you're gonna go in the ring and a guy's gonna pitch you to the floor, and then just keep going around and keep getting pitched to the floor. And we'd already had like 5-10 years in the business at this point. Like, we know how to take getting pitched to the floor.
Right.
At this point, it's just like a risk to injury. We had guys that were getting legitimately hurt, like guys blowing out their knees, guys tearing their biceps. And these are on stupid drills that never made them a better wrestler. There was no need for it whatsoever.
He also claimed that DeMott played favourites, often drinking and socialising with certain wrestlers outside of training. These weren't always the most talented guys, but they were the ones getting called up to the main roster first.
I mean, there were people that hung out with him in their spare time, and those were coincidentally the people that kept getting sent up. It was my opinion. I would say they weren't necessarily the right people to go. Is it right? Is it wrong? I mean, for me, I do believe that hard work should be rewarded, and I think the best guys should go up. And I think if you send the best guys up, it's going to look better on you in the end.
Meanwhile, those who didn't fall in line, like Kenny, were treated the opposite way. According to him, DeMott once told him directly, "I'm going to make sure you never get called up anyway, so you can do whatever the fuck you want." Kenny eventually requested his release from developmental due to the toxic training environment. Many other wrestlers have been critical of DeMott's behaviour during this period, including Simon Dean, who described him as a bully and said that people were sick of him. DeMott was eventually fired from WWE in 2007 and the developmental territory was shut down. But despite this, DeMott was rehired in 2012 as a head coach for a new season of Tough Enough. The following year, he took over as head coach of Florida Championship Wrestling, which later became NXT. Multiple former trainees have since alleged that his abusive behaviour continued during this period. He was accused of slapping several wrestlers, including Enzo Amore in EC3, tore a shirt off Rusev just weeks after neck surgery, and grabbed Dax Harwood by the neck while he was injured. He was also accused of mocking trainees' backgrounds and sexual orientation, including using racist and homophobic slurs. Eva Lise appeared in NXT as Sophia Cortez in 2012, and she was reportedly one of the first people to speak up about DeMott's misconduct to company officials. In an interview, she said, "Towards the end, the whole thing with DeMott really had a negative imprint on me. My time was cut short because of the whole thing, but again, there's not all bad in anything, and I'm really grateful for the positives. As far as standing up for myself, that's just part of my DNA." She's since implied that her release from WWE was a direct result of speaking out, but she wasn't the only one to lodge a complaint against DeMott's actions. Over the next few years, more and more wrestlers came forward with stories that echoed the same disturbing pattern of abuse and intimidation. The tipping point came in early 2015 when a letter written by former NXT wrestler Austin Matelson, also known as Luchasaurus, was made public. The letter described a culture of fear under DeMott's leadership, filled with dangerous drills, discriminatory language, and constant verbal abuse. Other former trainees backed him up, and a second open letter was published. The whole thing exploded on social media. WWE issued a statement denying any wrongdoing and claimed they had conducted a full internal investigation, but some of the alleged victims said they were never even contacted, raising serious questions about how thorough that investigation really was. Faced with mounting pressure, DeMott announced his resignation in March 2015. He's always denied the allegations against him.